She has the voice of an angel, out of money and power. She only sings in the shower. All these things we say will get.
Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious morning. Yes, again and again and again and again. Yes, the beautiful reminder that you get to choose the same way that I do, the same way that every single one of us does. Remember, you get to choose what things mean. And with that choice, you can lead yourself onto any frequency you want. And why that's so important is because that frequency, whatever it is, that's the attractive force in your life. It determines where you go. It determines what comes to you. It determines what you're repelled by, what's repelled by you, all of it. And it all starts with thought. Your thought, which is in your mind, which is in your magnificent mind, your incredible mind. And in that mind of yours, by the way, you get to choose how you're going to use your imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, intuition. See, all of those magnificent tools that you have, which can shape your inner world magnificently if you'll just exercise it, if you'll just use it, if you'll just make the choice to override what's no longer serving you. And to me, that's incredible. It's amazing. I'm so grateful for Bob Proctor teaching that to me, for helping me to see what I needed to do inside so that I could change the outside. And if I could do it for me, you can do it for you as well. All right. So we've been studying this incredible book, The Master Key System. If you don't have it, make sure you get it. You can get it on Amazon. Look at the links that will be shared with you here or in the recording for availability for this. And again, I highly recommend that you get it and highlight it, underline it, and definitely 100%, most importantly, use it, because that's what's going to help you to make the change. Remember, collecting the information to the point of where you have analysis paralysis, that's not going to serve you. You have to make the decision to use the information, to apply it in your life practically. And then if you'll do that, then you will see the change that you seek. All right, so now let's dive into this and go into where we are in this book. All right, so we talked about this in the last session, okay? In the last session. And it's important to go over this again, okay? Those familiar with the laws of electricity understand the principle of electricity must always pass from a higher to a lower potentiality, and can therefore make whatever application of the power they desire. Those not familiar with this law can affect nothing. Now, this is important. We're talking about a principle that's in play. It's got to go from the higher to the lower potential. And so, with the law governing the mental world, those who understand that mind penetrates all things, and this is important, is omnipresent and is responsive to every demand, can make use of the law and can control conditions, circumstances, and environment. The uninformed cannot use it because they do not know it. Now, what does this mean? This means that you have within you a power to change your life. You have access to an infinite source of wisdom, of knowledge, and all that's waiting for you is to make the shift inside to allow that wisdom to flow to and through you. Now, really grab onto what I'm saying here. Think about it. There's an infinite mind that you have access to. The amount of that infinite that's there, remember, you got to go from a higher to a lower potential. The amount of that infinite that flows to and through you is dependent on what's regulating it to go through you. And what's regulating that to go through you is what you believe to be true and the habits you have. See, it's when you shift that you are able to open up the floodgates to abundance and prosperity, change, success, whatever it is that you seek and desire. But guess who has to do that? It's you. You're the one that has to do that. And those who get it, those who understand that, oh my gosh, those are the ones that determine and deliver the outcomes that all of us admire. And by the way, you're no different than them. You have that in you. It's in you. You can think what you please. If to think is to form, you can form what you please. Now, let's go deeper into this, okay? Because this is, again, extremely important for you to get. The fruit of knowledge is, as it were, a gift of the gods. The fruit of knowledge, okay? It is the truth that makes men free, that makes you free, that makes me free. Not only free from every lack and limitation, but free from sorrow, worry, and care. And is it not wonderful to realize that this law is no respecter of persons, that it makes no difference what your habit of thought may be, the way has been prepared. Now, really grab onto this. I really recommend that you take a screenshot of this, okay? Because this is important for you. It's there right now, the fruit of knowledge. It's there for you to use in your life. And what's beautiful when what he's talking about here is, it doesn't matter what's happened in your life. It doesn't matter what's been going on. It doesn't matter when it comes to your past. Why? Because all of that is there from previous thought. Now think about that. And besides that, you cannot change the past experience. But guess what you can do? You can determine what the new ones shall be like. Write that in your notes. I can determine what the new experiences shall be like. And how do you determine what the new experiences shall be like? It's by thinking. It's by using your mind. It's by using your greatest power. That's your ability to accept, reject ideas. It's by exercising your imagination, your perception, your reason, your will, your memory, your intuition. It's through the exercise of those beautiful higher mental faculties that you deliver change. And remember, with regards to the first one that I shared with you, your imagination, another thing that you've got to grab onto, another truth, I should say, that you've got to grab onto is that your imagination is the only weapon you have to combat what's happening in your life. And it's through that shift in imagination, what you're imagining to be true, provided you're loyal to it. See, there's the will. If you will be loyal to that unseen reality, to that image, you know what will start happening? Your outer world will start to change in exact proportion to whatever that image is that you're holding on to. Now, think about that. That's extremely important. That is a truth. That is a principle that gets enforced regardless of whether or not you're knowledgeable or ignorant of it. Now, again, I want to emphasize here that this law, the laws, the universe is no respecter of you, the same way that your subconscious mind is no respecter of you. Yes, your subconscious mind is a loyal servant, but it's not loyal to you. It's loyal to what you have made important, whether positive or negative. Now, again, grab onto that. The fruit of knowledge is, as it were, a gift of the gods. It is the truth that makes you free, the truth of this, provided you're using it, not only free from every lack and limitation. You want to get free, be free of lack of limitation, use this principle, but free from sorrow, worry, and care. And isn't it wonderful, again, to realize, to see that this law is no respecter of person, that it makes no difference what your habit of thought may be. It doesn't matter. Why? Because you can change it. You can change how you're thinking. You can change what's embedded within you subconsciously. You can change your habits. You can change your beliefs because that's what's embedded in you subconsciously. And when you change that, that's when your world changes. This is something that I've been saying for quite a while now, not only here, but throughout my lives, throughout all of the presentations that we present to you, the overwhelming majority of people who know this information are not getting outcomes. Why? Because they have formed the habit of collecting the information. They're information gatherers, and that's what's in their habit, which is why the results don't change. You can study all of this information till you're blue in the face, study it for countless hours, for months, for years. And I got news for you. All the study in the world, all of the memorization of what we're talking about here, it's not going to deliver the outcome you seek, because all you're doing when you do that is you're letting it sit there passive and static. Now, think about that. Life is not passive. Life is not static. It's dynamic. There is movement. Changing that one habit alone, shifting from being an information collector to an information implementer, will dramatically change your outcomes in a very short period of time. It will change everything for you. But again, guess who has to do it? It's you that has to do that. And, with regards to that being said, that's what we love to do. That's what we love to help people to do. We love to help people to implement the information. Now, yes, you have this wonderful knowledge that's here within Master Your Mind, and it's definitely beautiful. And you've definitely been seeing changes. With that being said, if you'd like some assistance to help to implement it at a much greater level, then you and I should have a wonderful conversation. You should reach out to us to help you to use this information even more, because I can tell you what, that's what's going to accelerate your life in a big way. Now, let's go further. With the realization that this mental power controls and directs every other power which exists, that it can be what? Cultivated and developed, that no limitation can be placed upon its activity, it will become apparent that it is the greatest fact in the world, the remedy for every ill, the solution for every difficulty, the gratification of every desire. In fact, that it is the Creator's magnificent provision for human emancipation. Now, if that's what you are seeking, emancipation, if you're seeking redemption, if you're seeking transformation, the solution lies in you. The solution lies in this wonderful, beautiful discovery that your mind is the source of all. Write that in your notes. Everything starts in the mind, and you have one. And your miniverse, which is your mind, is attached to the universe. And the universe can flow to and through your miniverse, completely dependent on what you change inside of you. Now, think about that. You have this ability to change that. You have this ability to change the regulator, which is what you believe to be true in the habits you have. And it's through a shift in that the outcomes are manifested. Now, again, grab onto that. That is the power you have in you. Thomas Troward refers to that as the hidden power in you. And if you use it as if your life depends on it, oh my gosh, and remember it does, you will see the change that you seek. Now, let's go further. Section 3 in this chapter. The scientific spirit now dominates every field of effort. Relations of cause and effect are no longer ignored. The discovery of a reign of law marked an epoch in human progress. It eliminated the element of uncertainty and caprice from men's lives and substituted law, reason, and certitude. Men now understand that for every result, now pay attention to this, for every result, there is an adequate and definite cause. This is something that you should underline. This is something that you should write. Every result has an adequate and definite cause. This is a law that gets enforced regardless of whether or not you're knowledgeable of it. Cause and effect. What is that? That's sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow. How much you earn is exactly what you're supposed to be reaping right now, based from what's been sown. If you want to change that, to increase it to be dramatically different than what you're experiencing now, then guess where you must make dramatic change. You've got to deal with the cause. You've got to consent to the idea that you are already that, not that you're going to be, not that it's going to happen. You've got to stop chasing it. You've got to stop following it. What you've got to do is you've got to give whatever that goal is life. You've got to embody it here and now. You've got to do as what Neville Goddard shares. You've got to live your life from the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is much different than focusing on it. And that's what we've been conditioned to think. We've been conditioned to focus on the goal. We've been focused to follow it. We've been focused to chase it. I did a live recently, and somebody says, yeah, you know what? Just go after your dream. I says, no, don't go after your dream. That's foolishness. It's always going to be away from you. When you follow it, when you go after it, when you chase it, you're actually reinforcing that it's away from you. Think about that. You're reinforcing that it's away from you. You are in want. And when you are in want, guess what? You want. You have to shift it to it's done, it's complete, it's finished, it's here right now. See, when you do that, when you lock into it that way, what is happening within you? It's something that you've made important. Now, really grab onto what I'm saying here. You've made it important. You've made it something that's now. Now, the reason why that's a big deal is because remember, your subconscious mind is a loyal servant. But remember, it's not loyal to you, it's loyal to what you have made important. And it will therefore do everything to prove what you've made important. Which leads me to the most beautiful thing that I'd love to share about all of this. You have something within you that will enable you to live your life effortlessly, positively or negatively. It's not a matter of whether or not that's there. It's a matter of whether or not you're going to use that in your favor. See, most people are unaware of that. They don't understand that that's there, that they have what's called a paradigm, which is reinforced by what's called their subconscious mind, which is the heart. Remember that phrase, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a woman thinketh in her heart, so is she. That's a reference to what's in you subconsciously. As you thinketh based on what you believe to be true and the habits you have, so are you. So are the results of your life. So are your outcomes. See, that's the sowing and the reaping. And with that example, can you see clearly now that it's about changing what you believe and the habits you have? And if you're willing to pay the price to do the work, then change is inevitable. But again, guess who has to do that? Guess who has to apply that information? Now, again, every result has an adequate and definite cause. Write this in your notes. Like causes lead to like effects. Like causes lead to like effects. Everything produces after its kind. Like attracts like in the mind, which is a principle, which means it applies to everything. I mean, really grab onto this. This is so important for you. Like people hang out with like people, right? The downers hang out with the downers. The uppers hang out with the uppers, which also leads to another important statement. You are the average of the people you surround yourself with. Think about that one. You are who you hang out with. Why? Because like attracts like. And if you don't like that, it's really beautiful. You don't have to worry about changing anything on the outside. Just start changing what's happening in you. And from there, the law of attraction will go into place. The people who were in harmony with how you were thinking, they'll feel something different and they won't feel comfortable around you. But what will also happen is people who are in harmony with you will start coming to you. We see when you change the inside, the outside changes. Now let's go further. The basis upon which all law rests was discovered by inductive reasoning, which consists of what? Comparing a number of separate instances with one another until the common factor which gives rise to them all is seen. See, what he's talking about here is that the use of your reasoning faculty, which is what we're instructing you to use, is what will help you to see the truth. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this because this is something that I've shared many, many times and I'll continue to share, and it ties to belief. You want to discover the truth. Make sure that your mind is always open to receive new information and to think through that information and evaluate. Why is that important? Well, because your beliefs are based on your evaluations. What you believe to be true right now is not the truth. It's your truth, which has come from limited information. Now, think about that. That means that your belief is just a partial truth. Now, grab onto that a moment because many of us walk around, oh, we make a judgment about something. Guess what? That's the truth to us. Why? Because that's what we believe, not understanding that we don't have all the information. Think about that. You don't have all the information, which means you don't have the truth. And unfortunately, again, we form the habit of claiming what we believe to be the truth, not getting that it's just partial. Now, again, that's really important for you to get. Why? Because none of us ever goes further than what we believe to be true. Write that in your notes. I will never go further than what I believe to be true. You won't, I won't, none of us ever does. We only act upon the belief that we have, which delivers the faith that we have. Your faith is always in direct proportion to the belief you have. And with that faith, that's where you place your actions. There's not a single one of us here that has an issue with our faith. The issue is in belief, which is why it's important for you to open your mind and allow yourself to reason, to think. Reason is your ability to think. And unfortunately, most people don't think. We've been conditioned not to think. We've been conditioned to just accept information from all over the place without thinking it through. Now, again, grab onto this. The basis upon which all law rests was discovered by inductive. Your reasoning faculty is thinking in your mind, which consists of what? Comparing a number of separate instances. See, that's evaluating with one another until the common factor which gives rise to them is all seen. It is this method of study to which civilized nations owe a greater part of their prosperity, and the more valuable part of their knowledge, it has lengthened life. Think about that. The more we discover, of which there's a lot to discover, there's always a better way. You know, this reminds me of thinking about, for instance, doctors who, or the medical community that says that's impossible, you know, that there's such thing as an incurable disease. That's not true. There's no such thing as an incurable disease. What's missing is the awareness to cure the disease. And see, many people say that. They'll say, oh, I don't know. Well, what they're really sharing is that they're ignorant of it. And remember, with regards to ignorance, ignorance is the only problem you'll ever have. It's the only problem that there ever is. And ignorance is simply not knowing. Oh, there it is again. Seek the knowledge. But the only way you're going to get to the true knowledge, the principle, is if your mind is open, and it's if you're willing to reevaluate. Now, again, grab on to what's being shared here. That's what's responsible for all of the progress. It's the open-mindedness, the willingness to consent to new information, which then shifts the belief, it shifts the theory. And that's another important thing to get, because most of what is shared out there in this world about what truth is nothing more than belief. Think about that. Think about how many theories have changed throughout the ages. Why? Because new information came in. You know, I have so much fun with this, thinking about, for instance, carbon dating. So many people accept carbon dating as a factual thing. It is not. It's a theory, which means it's based from a belief of information that's been collected and evaluated from those in the scientific community. It's a theory. And that's really important, because that's, think about, many people, they'll accept things in terms of something that's been dated. Oh, they'll do the carbon dating and they'll say, well, based off of this information, this is, 20,000 years old or a million years old. Really? Based from what knowledge? Oh, no, it's not based off knowledge. It's based off a theory. And this is important for you, because this has everything to do with you making change in your life. It's the same thing for your life with what you're doing. Your life, you're living it based from a theory that you have. And if you want to change the outcome, you've got to change that. You've got to change the belief, which then will change the outcome. Now, again, it is this method of study which civilized nations owe a greater part of their prosperity, and the more valuable part of their knowledge. It has lengthened life. It has mitigated pain. It has spanned rivers. Yes, there has been an improvement on this, hasn't there? It has brightened night with the splendor of day, extended the range of vision, accelerated motion, annihilated distance, facilitated intercourse, and enabled men to descend into the sea and soar into the air. And there's more to come. What a wonder, then, that men soon endeavored to extend the blessings of this system of study in their method of thinking, so that when it became plainly evident that certain result followed a particular method of thinking, it only remained to classify these results. Oh, that's so beautiful. Grab onto that. It's open-mindedness that has led to the change that we experience. Everything that you love, the technology that you enjoy, the car that you drive, the home in which you live, air conditioning. How many of you love air conditioning? I do. Okay. Think about this. All of the progress stemmed from open-mindedness, from the use of someone's mind, from someone imagining great things for themselves, for the world, and through the loyalty of that unseen reality. Think about that. It all happened because somebody was willing to think. Mental activity is not thinking. Your reactions, that's not thinking, that's mental activity. Thinking is the conscious exercise of your higher mental faculties, your imagination, your perception, your reason, your will, your memory, intuition. And through the use of those higher mental faculties, you can change what's in you subconsciously. You can change what you believe to be true in the habits you have. And that's the purpose of your conscious mind, by the way. It's to shape and mold what's in your heart. Don't use it as something to get things done. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn out immensely. Why? Because your conscious mind only has the power of like 1, maybe 2% of what you do physically. Think about that. Your subconscious mind controls literally like 98, 99% of what you do. That's in you subconsciously. Think about that. Think about what's going to happen to you if you try to get things done using the power of your conscious mind to get that things done. Think of it this way. Think of a car that has maybe 7 or 8 gears. Okay. The higher you go in the gears, the easier your car works. Now imagine trying to go 90 miles an hour in first gear. What's going to happen? You're going to freaking burn out. You're going to blow the engine. And that's unfortunately what most people do. They don't understand that first gear is what you use to get things moving. Use your conscious mind that way to embed within you the right beliefs and the right habits so that you can cruise along at a high speed, working less. That's what we want you to do. Now, here again, we went over a lot of really great information. But again, here's the question. How are you going to use it? Remember, this information is not going to change your life unless it's applied. You've got to apply this information. You've got to use it as if your life depends on it. And if you will use it practically as you're going through the day, oh, I remember what was said in the call. And I remember what I wrote in my notes. I remember what I underlined. I'm going to think that way. If that's how you make a decision to live your life from this point forward, you will see the change that you seek. So use it. All right. Amazing. All right. Put in the comments hearts if this rocked you in a big, beautiful way. I really hope that it did. And then also, as a reminder, by the way, we have Majestic Mastery happening on Saturday. If you love what's been shared with you here, you're going to love what's happening in Majestic Mastery on Saturday, where we're going to talk about manifesting miracles. So make sure that you register for that at elevitality.com and also invite someone to come along. You know how much this information has helped you. Well, invite someone else to come along to join this journey with you. And with that being said, if you could all go ahead and unmute and share the magnificent golden rule.